So at the beginning of the service, you're going to pull up ProPresenter, and all of these things should have been checked. The slides should have been corrected and adjusted during a rehearsal, and you will go through this once the day of during the pre-service run-through. And so you're going to run it just like you will run it during the actual service to catch any errors. It's a little bit different than a rehearsal while you're kind of adjusting things and making sure everything's correct. Then you'll actually go through it all the way from top to bottom just to make sure that things show up where they're supposed to. And so we're going to get started. So at the beginning of the service, you click on this green Start on Me slide. So when you click on that, that starts the slide deck. Each of these slides has a little widget on it that advances to the next slide automatically after a certain amount of time. And you'll also want to bring up the countdown clock. Now, this presentation, most of the time, when you're actually running it, all you will be doing is pressing the space bar. When you press space bar, it advances to the next slide, and that's almost all you have to do. But there is this one element at the beginning of the service that you'll need to do. So click on this right here. This is a messages and times widget. So what you're going to do is you're going to set your service time. So our first service time is 9:15 a.m. I'm going to put 9:15 in here, and then you're going to clear this time if there's something running. I always just hit clear, start, and then show message. And you'll notice right here in the corner, it puts the clock up. Now right now it's 5 p.m. so 9:15 is a long ways away. Just so that you see what this looks like, I'm going to change this to 5:15 p.m. Refresh, start, and so if you hit show message, you see we've got about 12 minutes till 5:15. I'm going to just update this again really quick. Just put this at 5:03, start, and so now you can see we've got about 45 seconds left. Now, on the rundown, you'll see during the walk-in, we have the slide deck running. The welcome is going to come, and at that point, once the welcome starts, you're going to hit this clear loop slide. So when you hit clear loop, that'll take everything off the screens, it'll clear all the little widgets that we have running, and it'll take the message timer down if it's still running. And then from that point on, during the service, you should be able to advance by pressing spacebar, and it'll send it to the next slide where appropriate. And then all you'll need to do is just keep an eye on whether or not the correct thing is up on screen. And if not, you'll just use the mouse and reorient yourself to where you're supposed to be. Now, if there are no problems, at the beginning of each song, there's a motion graphic. Now, you can see this is the first motion graphic that we have. I'm actually going to change this. So if you go to the little video image bin down here, twirl down this little button here, go to worship backgrounds and motion graphics. It'll pull up this bin, and as you click on things, it'll put up these different colored slides. So I'm going to take this gold one and I'm going to just drop it in here. So now, if we just back up here a little bit, now we're on the logo, and if you advance, we've got this gold motion background. So we're going to step through our song, and as you can see, there's just a few words, few lyrics on the screen. Now, as you're advancing, it's important that you advance it fast enough that the audience can keep up with what the band is singing. So a good rule of thumb is if you read the bottom line, whatever the second to the last word is in that line, as they begin to sing the second to the last word, go ahead and hit the spacebar button and advance it. So by the time they're reading the last word, you already have the next slide up, so that the audience has plenty of time to read it. They see the first couple of words, and so by the time the band starts singing that, everybody's read the words and they know what's coming up next. So your job is just going to be advanced through here, assuming that the run-through went well, that the rehearsal got everything in line. You shouldn't have to do much other than just advance the slides. But if there is an event where the band decides to change something, if for some reason something got missed during the rehearsal, the way you change things here, if you notice there's these little markers on here for each of these group of slides. So we have chorus 1, break, verse 1. These are different chunks of lyrics that stay together. And instead of editing an individual slide or individual slides to adjust your presentation, the way we adjust these is you click on this little button up here, and this will bring up our arrangement editor. So if you can verify the order of things for that particular song where you need to make a correction, say for instance here, instead of verse 1, they're just going to skip verse 1 and go directly to verse 2. You can drag in this token for verse 2, and we'll just remove verse 1. Now I'm just going to reset this here since that was just for an example. But that gives you an idea of how easy it is to change and reorder the slides for a song. So I'm just going to toggle this arrangement tree back off. And so we'll just keep stepping through our songs. And obviously for each song, there will be a new motion graphic. And so you'll see it change in between songs. A good rule of thumb is to kind of follow along if there's like a transition or something in here where the lighting has not changed yet. You'll notice that during a service, the lighting will be coordinated with these motion graphics. Now, if you're the one programming the presentation for that weekend during a rehearsal, you'll need to coordinate with the lighting and decide on these motion graphic colors and make sure that they match what lighting is doing. Let's see, where are we? So if we have a transition where the lighting has not changed yet, just go ahead and stay on whatever the previous motion graphic is until the lighting changes, and then go ahead and advance it. So we'll step all the way through this song. Everything looks good. And as you get to the last song, let's pull up this motion graphic. Let's say we're almost to the end of this song. The next thing on the run sheet is going to be the message. Now, what you're going to need to do for the message is you're going to have to trigger the playback. You're going to press play here to start the video message. You're also going to have to press a button that will route the video to the screens to the correct spot. And after that has been done, at about roughly 10 seconds in, you're going to start the fail-safe video, which is run from the deck down here. And I'll show you how that works. So we're going to pretend like this is the very end of the song. So we're here on the last few slides. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. One more time. Great are you, Lord. And that's our last slide. So as we finish up this song, the band plays out the end of the song, and the worship leader usually will invite the congregation to sit and to listen to the message. And at that point, you'll go ahead and click on this fade to black slide and hit go live to play your bumper. And to bring it up on screens, you may hear the bumper playing in the background. We don't see it yet because you'll need to press this button here that says bumper. And at that point, the bumper, the playback video will come up. Now, after you've pressed that, I like to bring the logo up on the side screens just so that we have something there. And then about 10 seconds into this, you're going to reach down here and press play on the deck. So that way, what happens is we have a fail-safe video. So if for some reason our computer or our stream is kind of glitchy, this is actually playing back off of a DVR. But if for some reason you need to switch over, we have a fail-safe. Now here's the end of the bumper, and you're going to press message, and that will take the center shot to the center screen and put the program feed on the side screens. We are actually running 2 simultaneous video streams, and so that just routes the correct thing. So you're going to press, we're going to practice that all one more time. I'm going to just hit pause here. I'm going to cue this up. So in between services, before the service starts, you're going to bring up the time. So the time for this particular video is 25 minutes and 3 seconds, I believe. Hit go, and then you're going to press go live and then pause. That way the video is queued up and ready to go. So we'll pretend we're on the last the last slide of Great Are You, Lord. So great are you, Lord, great are you, Lord. And so here's our lyrics are on screen. And we go to the last slide. Thanks so much for singing, you guys. Go ahead and take a seat. So we're going to hit this fade to black, hit go live, and bumper. Go to this logo, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and play on our hyperdeck. So now we've got our backup video going, we've got the main video going, and we're going to just press message here when this bumper video is finished. So we have just a few seconds left. The title for the sermon series is going to come up here. We'll give it just a moment, and here we go. Here's the end of the bumper, and at the end of the bumper we're just going to press this message button, and there we go. Transitions, and so now we have all of the correct things laid out. Now at the end of this message, I'm going to just skip ahead here. So the end of this is 1:7. I'll do 45. So I'm going to go live. So he's going to be praying. Stand by to go to end. And so what you're going to do is press end. So that'll transition that off. And then you make sure you press pause. So then we're not hearing the audio continue to play from the video playback. And then you can jump back into your presentation. So we're just going to step through. Again, we have one more song, so the motion graphic comes up. You just advance the lyrics. Make sure you stay ahead. Keep going with the band. And then at the end of the last song, the host is going to come out for a call to action. So at the end of the song, you'll see a last slide, and it goes to Sandals Church logo. So the logo comes up. So they're going to call, the audience is going to be prompted. So they're going to invite them to prayer, or if you're new, to go out to the back. And so then at the very end, as they walk off and the house lights come up, you're just going to click this first slide, and then our announcement slides will begin looping again. And that is the end of the service. So one last thing that you could do before you step away and take your break in between services is you may cue this message timer up and just get ready for the next service. So I'll just push in 11 a.m. and now I'm ready for the next service, and just click show message, and you'll have whatever time is left until the next service. So that is how to run the basics of this presentation position. Hope you learned something, and we'll get into how to load all of these elements into ProPresenter and get set up in another video.